Hello everyone. Good evening to my dear mechanical family joining across India. This is Srikanth Chakravarthy, co-founder and consultant at Lean Honest. I welcome you all to this webinar on industry fit engineers. So before we begin with our webinar, I would just like to give you a quick overview of who we are and what we do. So we were established in the year 2016 to provide consultation and training services in the field of lean manufacturing, Six Sigma methodologies, and industrial engineering. We adopt our very own industry independent methodology. Our goal is to reduce the operational cost for the organization. We are driven by the motto, we optimize you, which relates to improving productivity, quality, and morale of the team. We cater to small scale, medium scale, and large scale organizations across various sectors, which we will mention in the upcoming slides. We work on the ideology of transforming team to transform the work culture. As the saying goes, if there is culture, there is improvement. We follow the same thing. We also provide turnkey manufacturing solutions in which we design, manufacture, and install machineries, fixtures, and gauges. We are certified from American Society for Quality for Six Sigma Black Belt, and we are also certified by American Association for Lean Six Sigma certification for lean management systems. We are TUV not certified for safety management aspects, and we are associated and recognized by Department of Industry and Commerce under the Startup India scheme, where we are authorized to provide training to industry partners for the skill development of engineers as well as non-engineers. Moving on, we would like to explain what are the various verticals we work with. The first vertical we work with is the operational excellence arm. See, operational excellence is basically the cultural transformation of businesses to achieve its strategic objectives. Any business has an objective in mind that has to be applied and implemented on a day-to-day basis through the aid of cultural transformation and the technical enablement of the processes. This is what, in a nutshell, is about operational excellence. The lean manufacturing system and the Six Sigma basically speaks about continuous improvement of the processes and reducing the variation or reducing the defects in the process. The next arm that we offer is the industrial engineering service, which is the development, implementation, and evaluation of integrated systems of people, knowledge, equipment, and processes. Things like ergonomics, layout design, how to make the work simpler falls under the ambit of industrial engineering. We offer turnkey manufacturing solutions in which we execute new projects from the stage of concept development up to installation and prod. So this is in a brief about the different segments, verticals that we operate from. Few numbers about ourselves. Till date, we have worked about 389 projects with about 45 customers spread across 21 industry verticals. The average productivity improvement that we have achieved is 27%, and the cost savings is 162 million rupees. Till date, we have implemented nearly 3,000 Kaizens, basically improvement in productivity, quality, delivery, safety, cost, and morale. We have trained about 3,000 plus personnel in industries with more than 12,000 hours of training involved. These are all the various sectors that we cater to. The key sectors that we are into is the food processing sector. We have few clients who prepare ready-to-eat food products here in Bangalore, and we have electronic components manufacturers, plastic injection molding, appliance manufacturing, automotive OEMs, casting and foundries, furniture manufacturing, machine shops, fabrication, general engineering, aerospace component, pharma. Now, coming to pharma, you must have heard about Biological E Limited, which is coming out with a vaccine for corona. So we are training partners for their company. Then engineering tool room, chemical manufacturers, machine manufacturers, and garment processing. Few of our major clienteles include automotive axles, These are Seatings, Juki India, PST Tillers and Tractors, Christian Pumped, Blue Coal Refrigeration, Micropack Limited, Diligent, Allison Appliances, and many more. We have only given you a gist of the various sectors and the kind of industries that we operate with. We have conducted innumerable training sessions for academia, specifically for final year engineering and MTech students. The focus was to conduct workshops, lean manufacturing workshops for the students to understand much better and implement those things. So we have carried out workshops in National Institute of Engineering, Mysore, PES Mandya, and many other colleges. So these are the snippets of the training session, whatever we have done. Now, moving ahead to today's webinar. So the webinar today is about industry fit engineers. Now, I wanted this to be a very interactive session between the students and myself. But considering the sheer volume of students that are there and the time delay that might happen, I'll just go through with the poll results of my previous demos that we had given. So the first question here, you just reflect this to yourself. Do you feel there is no job vacancy in core mechanical industries for the next few years? Just think about it for a second before I give you the answer. It's either a yes or a no. The previous poll answers that I got, 85% of the engineers felt there is no vacancy in the core mechanical industry for the next few years. But wait, just look into this particular graphical representation. The one on the left is an image which speaks about the demand aspect, and the one on the right speaks about the supply aspect. Now, if you put together the total expected shortfall in industries in 2022 across the domains of infrastructure, auto components, building and construction, textile and clothing, transport and logistics, organized retail, real estate service, healthcare, food processing, and education service. This is the number as given by NSDC, in which it says there is roughly about 288 million job vacancies that is coming up. Now, look at the right side. What does it say? This graph gives you the number of students enrolled in engineering at the undergraduate level across India. This is as per the AICTE report. If you see the first bar, it says mechanical engineering produces about roughly 782,000 students in a year. So we can just take it as an average of 700,000 students or about 7 lakh students. Now, look at the demand aspect. The demand says there are about 288 million jobs, out of which, even if you reserve 1% of the job is for mechanical engineers, there are roughly about 2.8 million jobs waiting for you, provided you are a skilled individual. Look at the supply aspect. It says that mechanical engineers are approximately 7 lakh in a year. Now, there is a good supply and the demand is too high. So, the organization can pick their candidate, whereas the candidate can pick his organization where he wants to work with. But there is a catch here. Are you finding jobs right away? No. The next part of our presentation, I would just like you to answer this question first before we move in. Do you feel you have acquired knowledge and skills in your curriculum to directly work in the factory environment? It's a pretty straightforward question, only with an either yes or no. Just reflect yourself, your learnings over the past 3 years or 4 years, what you have learned and how you can directly go and execute in the factory environment. The overwhelming response that we got last time when we conducted this poll was 95% of them said no, they don't have the required, they feel they don't have the required knowledge or the skills to directly work in the factory environment. Now, just look at this infographic here. This is taken from a talent shortage survey from conducted by OECD and the Forbes Statista magazine. The one on the left and the one on the right both gives you the same numbers, but from two different organizations. This supplemental analysis, which speaks about the percentage of employers facing difficulties in filling jobs as per 2015 report. Nothing much has changed in the span of 5 years. What this graph says, at the international level, Japan faces an 83% shortage of employees, or 83% of employers face difficulties in filling the jobs. Look into the Indian aspect. In India, skilled workers and engineers are the top categories that employers find difficulty in recruiting. The Indian shortage, as per the industry survey report, says that 58% by this talent shortage survey. If you go as per the Forbes Statista survey, it says 64%. So on an average, you can say that 60% of the employers face skill shortage for employing better people. Now, moving on to the next part. There's a catch here. What do you feel, or how much percentage of fresh engineers are directly employable? I've given you four options here: 5%, 30%, 60%, and 80%. Now, based on our previous survey that we had conducted, most of the people, 80% of the people, felt that 60% of the engineers are directly employable. We are speaking about fresh engineers who can be directly employable. So 60%, 80% of them went for option C, that is 60%. But wait, just taking you to the previous survey, what it says, the survey carried out by the Forbes Statista and Deloitte, it speaks about skill shortages in organization. What does it mean? The quality of the supply is not good. In the first slide, we understood that there is roughly about 2.8 million vacancies for about 700,000 students passing out, but still they are not being absorbed. Industry is facing a problem with the quality of students that is coming in. So the quality that is given by the universities is not found directly acceptable to the quality expected by the industries. The previous survey, which was carried out, in which CEOs of firms where 10 or more employees are employed, have given out the numbers. Now, you must be pretty optimistic about the job market, right? There are concepts of make in India, invest in India, and all other things to bring out the job potential within the market. So the industry is ready to invest and they want to come forward, but the quality of students is not good. Now, going by this particular poll where 80% of them went for option C, 60%, just look into this thing. An India Today article, which is done along with Aspiring Minds, says that only 7% of our engineering graduates are employable. Now, what's wrong with our Indian engineers? Time for us to think about it. Where are we faltering? Now, look at this infographic. This is as per the AICTE employability report and Aspiring Minds. This says only 5.5% of mechanical engineers can directly go for a job, or without any training, without any gap, fulfilling any gaps, they can be directly recruited and put into the job. So where are we left with? Roughly about 670,000 students are left without good jobs, or even if they get a good job, the pay what they receive is not up to the expected level. Can you correlate to this thing? Your seniors or your batchmates, those who have passed out, or those who are there with you, those who have got jobs somewhere. Most of you might have got into an IT sector because you have not found good jobs in the manufacturing sector. This is the current scenario. Now, we understood where we are coming from, right? We started by understanding that there is good market demand, but the quality of input for the market is not there. Now, Why is this happening? This is because employers feel there is some skill sets that are missing for the engineer. Now, according to you, what do you feel are the top skills that an engineer should have? We are given four options here. I want you to pick one for you to give an answer. Complex problem solving, cognitive ability, process skill, and system skill. Now, just take a minute here. I just want you to reflect upon these words within yourself. I'm going to give you an answer based out of a previous poll result. 38% was the highest answer that we had got for complex problem solving, followed by 28% for cognitive ability, and the remaining things followed. Now, let's look into this graphic here. So, this is as per a survey carried out by Deloitte. What does this say? What are the growing skills demand? What are the growing skills which are in demand in the year 2020? It says that complex problem solving is of the highest requirement. This is as per the survey carried out with at least 100, with CEOs with more than 100 people employed across engineering industries throughout the world. Right? So, complex problem solving is the most sought after skill for an employer within a fresh graduate. It is followed by system skills and social skills. Just look into this thing. As per this, more than 1/3 of all jobs across industries are expected to require complex problem solving as one of their core skills. And this is as per the trend, whatever is changing in the industry. This is not just the manufacturing industry, this is across many industries. So, what is wrong with our Indian engineers? Or what is wrong with our Indian engineering system? We, based out of our experience with working with multiple sectors in manufacturing, service, IT, and within manufacturing, we have worked with a very vast domain, which I already explained to you. When we sit on board for interviewing the candidates along with the HRHs, the CEOs, we felt that there is a huge gap in what the students think that they know and to what they actually know. The problem with our academic system is it teaches you more about concepts. Yes, we accept concepts are very much required, but how do you apply those concepts? And I'll be explaining you about the nature of jobs for mechanical engineers in the upcoming slide. Before we go into that thing, I want you to understand one thing. An engineer's job is not always to design and implement solutions. He is more into an problem solving mode. Right? So, this skills, few of the skills are not taught in your education system. So, an engineer who's a graduate engineer plus the necessary skills will give you an industry fit engineer. So this program, whatever we have designed and whatever I'll be explaining you, the whole course of our trainings that we do is in fact discussed with HR heads, CEOs, CFOs, CXOs regarding what they feel is required for an entry level engineer. Guys, just try to understand here. We are not telling that engineers are incompetent or something. There is something extra which the industry wants, but it's not getting from an entry level engineer. Now, you might say that industries should train engineers, right? But there is a catch here. Today, the cost of onboarding an employee and training an employee is too high for the organizations to sustain. As a part of their cost reduction strategy, organizations today have thought of reducing the onboarding costs. Now, where does this lead to? They want people with good skill sets inherently with them to directly come and work in their organization. And the time which they give for an engineer to understand their processes and get into the shop floor is pretty less. Earlier, there used to be the concept of GET, where they used to be trained for about 1 year or 2 year or a probationary kind of a thing. But today, the job systems are changing. Today, everyone wants them to understand their processes and start implementing and delivering results within a span of 3 months. So, if you have to do all these things, you need to imbibe some critical skill sets. What are those critical skill sets that you want? The first thing is problem solving abilities. You need to have your cognitive abilities, process skills, social skills, and system skills. Now, let us just try to understand in a single line about what these skills are. As I already told you, the problem solving skills is of utmost importance for an engineer. Now, what do you mean by a problem? Do you face a problem in life? Do you face a problem in your university? Do you face a problem at your home? Yes, we all face problems. But an engineer is a one who has the knack of coming out of the problem without creating any other problems. How do you do that? First thing is we use our rational thinking to determine why an issue is happening and how to resolve that issue with a root cause. Guys, this point might look pretty silly to you, but please try to understand. Just today, I was discussing with one of the MDs of a very large company here in Bangalore itself. There he was lamenting that his engineers who are experienced, even 5 years experience, 10 years experience, they are not doing proper root cause analysis. I'll just give you an example of what happened today. When we had a discussion, there was a quality issue. There was the rejections were going up. So the engineers there had given a report to the management stating that the material is of poor quality. But when we checked the material was found conforming with the specifications. Now, that led him to think that his engineers are pretty incapable of solving the problem. So, how do you solve a problem? It is by having an eye on what is the real issue and how do you go into the root cause of the issue and how do you resolve that so that it doesn't come back to haunt us. This is the key skill that is required. The next important skill that is required is the cognitive ability. It means the general mental capability which involves reasoning, planning, abstract thinking, and complex idea comprehension. Now, where do you apply these things? In the field of your design. You need to conceptualize few things. You need to understand few things. And design is not just drafting. You have to have a lot of calculations and you need to visualize the product when the product is not in front of you. So this is where your cognitive ability kicks in. The next important skill is the process skills. It basically speaks about managing and modifying the actions in your regular task and pacing yourself to use tools for completing a task. Now, you have your own set of processes in any industries. So, how do you pace yourself in understanding and completing these activities speaks about the process skills. The next important skill that you need to have is the social skills. The moment you step into a factory, you are working with a minimum of at least 100 to 5,000 people. Please listen to this. You are working with a minimum of 100 to 5,000 people, all who are much more experienced than you in technical aspects as well as administrative aspect. You might be a qualified engineer, but in industries you will find even other graduates competing with you. Now, what skill you need here to manage people? You need to have social skills. The more and more they work with manpower, the more and more conflicts arise. So how do you come to a logical conclusion for a conflict? How do you manage the man aspect? As you're aware, any industry is run by 4 aspects: man, material, method, and machine, provided there is an input of money. So this skill is pretty much important in handling the man aspect of it. The last thing, and one of the most advanced skill sets that is being looked in, even for a mechanical engineer, is the computer skills. It is the knowledge and the set of abilities that allow you to use computers and new technology efficiently and effectively. I'll just give you an idea of what kind of computer skills you might need here. You might have heard about the company called Boeing. So Boeing has a design office in India. So what they are doing is, in the traditional way of doing finite element analysis, we do a lot of calculations, then we put it into the system, we model it, and then we use some softwares like ANSYS or Creo or something to run the simulation, understand what is the stress, what is the strain. We do all sort of simulations in it. But today, Boeing has set its engineers to automate the process. Instead of 8 engineers or 10 engineers sitting and running a simulation for a finite element model, they are learning Python and R to automate that process. So this is the kind of skill that you have to be updated with. So you have a fair idea of what are the skill sets that are required. You have a fair idea of the job market that is there for mechanical engineers. Now, let us get into the manufacturing industry. Now, any industry works on 3 levels. You are either in the top management, you are either in the middle management, or you are in the lower management. Now, people who get into small and medium scale industries, as I told you earlier, manufacturing industries are classified into 3 fronts: small scale industry, medium scale industry, and large scale industries like public sectors. Now, when you get into an small or a medium scale industries, you generally start your career at the lower management. Just above the shop supervisor, you will be starting your career. So in which departments you can start? You can start in design, production, quality, maintenance, or as the projects team. Now, when you are there at somewhere at the lower management, you would be reporting to people who may be less qualified than you, but well experienced than you, or better experienced than you in the middle management. So only when you understand the process, you solve their problems, you perform well, you show results, you will be promoted to the middle management. So once you get into the middle management, you are in charge of running the complete department. And then you step into the top management role of decision making and involved or discussing with the customers. So this is your career progression, like where you start and where you can reach. Guys, the potential for a mechanical engineer is infinite. You might feel that as of now there is no much scope or much market for us, but we get better as we experience. We are unlike other branches of engineering which fades out with experience. We get better as we experience. Now, just to have an understanding of what all the various departments and what kind of job roles that you can go in there, just brief you about it. The first department that you can get in is the design department. So you must have studied good number of subjects in engineering regarding design, where it speaks about new product development. Correct. So you have gone through a lot of data handbooks and you have done a lot of calculations. You have conceptualized many things. So you can start your career in design as an drafting engineer. So you use AutoCAD, you use some softwares to first draft the things, and then you go for the calculation part of it, and then you go for the adopting the whole process either through the APQP format or any other way as per the industry norms. So that is your design aspect. The next department where you can land up a job is in the production department. So what do you mean by production? Just close your eyes and think about what do you mean by production? Production is basically manufacturing activity plus supporting function. So the core domain for any mechanical engineer lies at the shop floor. So this production is one of the core elements of the shop floor level. So you can begin your career either as an production engineer or an graduate engineering trainee, where your job role will be limited to understanding things and improving the processes. So as you get much experience here, you will be moving into the levels of assistant manager, manager, and above. The next type of job that you can get is into the projects mode. Now you must have heard about pipeline installation, commissioning of hydroelectric power plants, commissioning of STPs, commissioning of ETPs. Even in these type of industries, mechanical engineers are required. So this is a type of job where you get into a particular project and you stay in that project for the time period of say 3 years or 5 years, from the start of the project to the end of the project. The next type of department which you can get into is the quality department. So quality is basically fitness for purpose. Whatever the customer asks, whatever the specification the customer gives, it has to be maintained. That is the essence of quality. So you can begin your career as an quality engineer. As a quality engineer, what would you do? You would assist your line inspectors to measure the process or measure the product and then give comments or fine tuning the process with respect to the production team or with the help of production team. You ensure the voice of customer is heard and is translated into the production activities. So this is in a nutshell about the quality department. The last major department that is there for mechanical engineers is the maintenance. The moment I say maintenance, you think maintenance is all about machines. You are factually correct. Maintenance also means machine maintenance and plant maintenance. Now, you will get into, for a fresh engineer, generally they're not put into the domains of maintenance. So only when you get into the production areas, you learn more about machines, and only then you will be moved into the department of maintenance. If you have to go for maintenance jobs directly, you have to be certified from either fire safety or in many other aspects, either as a piping engineer or a welding specialist, with things with some specialization apart from engineering and with some hands-on experience. Say at least for a period of 6 months to 1 year, you can get into the maintenance department. So this is in a nutshell of where you can work in the factory and at what levels you can work. Top management is the highest post which you can reach. Middle management speaks of the department, heading the department level. Lower management speaks about handling operators or supervisors at the shop floor level. Now, moving on. This is a very important thing for you to understand. I'll be speaking about the trending roles for a mechanical engineer before we get into the salary aspect. So if you see, there is an 8% increase for the job trend of drafting engineer, and there is a 31% increase for the planning engineer. Now, what does planning engineer mean? I told you about projects in the last phase or in the last slide. So planning basically is, where do you source your material? How much material do you need? How much manpower do you need? How do you plan your day? How do you plan your week? How do you plan your month? Compiling all these things and ensuring that there is a very good plan which can be easily executable is the role of a planning engineer. So it has increased in trend by 31%. Then the production engineering scope has increased by 67%. And the project engineer scope has increased by 32%. The R&D manager, this is not necessarily for a fresher. The R&D manager, this is for an experienced cadre, and it has increased by 51%. This is mainly attributed to the fact over the past few years, a lot of new companies are establishing their R&D centers in India. Then there is the field engineer who is involved in the maintenance, and then there is the automation engineer. Automation basically speaks about your robotics, industry 4.0, IoT, and things like that. And then the quality engineer has increased by 42%. Now, the most important aspect that you are looking for, what will be the average salary? The average salary are spread across all engineering domains. For an entry level, average monthly salary is 26,900 rupees. But for a skilled mechanical engineer, guys, please listen to me very carefully. For a skilled mechanical engineer, the average entry level salary is around 29,900 rupees. And irrespective of engineering, all other segments put together, all jobs, the average entry level salary is around 31,900 rupees. Now, why am I telling you all these things? Guys, you are all engineers, you are all graduates, want to get placed somewhere, you have a vision in you to achieve something. It might be to go for a job, it might be to go for a government job, it might be to get into anything. This is purely for people who want to get into a job and excel in the field of manufacturing. You might have expectations of starting your own business, you're starting your own manufacturing unit. For that, you need to gain some experience, right? So you need to work somewhere. So this, the next set of topics, whatever I'm going to speak, is purely dedicated for job seekers and who are seriously looking for jobs. Now, we carried out a poll in the WhatsApp and in social media asking what training or certification courses are fresh engineers looking forward to improve their employability aspect. We had given them multiple options and even their own answers was also seeked. So the top answers that we got was, the first thing was, they said they wanted to be industry fit engineers. Few of them said they wanted to learn about lean manufacturing system, and few of them said they want to go for lean Six Sigma green belt. Now, based out of students' demand or the graduates' demand, we are carrying out a course called as industry fit engineers. Now, I'm only going to give you an outline here of what our program is. So, as I already told you, this is for fresh engineers who are either in their pre-final year or final year or just passed out. And what are we going to teach you here? What are we going to make you understand here? It is in a nutshell about two aspects. One is basic functioning of industries and the advanced problem solving techniques. And this is from the purely from the manufacturing sector aspect. So people who are looking to go to the IT front or looking to go into the civil services front, the next few minutes are not for you. This is purely for mechanical engineers who want to excel in the mechanical domain. So in the basic functioning of industries, we are first going to explain you the meaning of production systems and technology. We are going to give you an overview of manufacturing industry, of where it started, how it started, what are the latest trends, all those aspects. And then we get into the categories of manufacturing units. Then we understand that you need to know more about the business process of a manufacturing unit. That's where we teach you about the SIPOC model and the process flow. SIPOC basically speaks about supplier, input, process, output, and customer. Next, we are going to teach you about the various types of facility layouts. This is the basic set of things that you need to understand before you get into any manufacturing industry. Then the next thing that we are going to teach you is about the key concepts of problem solving and some basics of lean manufacturing systems. So the first thing that we are going to talk is about the origin of quality management system. Now, you must have heard about the word quality management systems through ISO or TQM or XYZ. Guys, this is the core foundation for any engineering industry. Your efficient quality management system is deployed. 90% of your problems are not there. The next thing we are jumping is about the lean manufacturing system and coupled with just-in-time and Kanban. Lean manufacturing is the philosophy of manufacturing where it says we continuously identify and reduce waste in the processes. It can be either at the information level or at the manufacturing level. JIT and Kanban is a form of is a technique which was developed by Toyota in the early 1950s to reduce on the inventory. Today, if you see the way how Amazon operates, you order something, Amazon gives you 1 day delivery, right? They have adopted the concept of just in time. The warehousing concepts of Amazon were derived from the concepts of Toyota production system in which they spoke about just in time, and Kanban. The next important thing is related to the 5S and workplace management system, where the basic concepts of how to organize the workplace, how to upkeep it, and ensure that whatever improvements we make doesn't fall back is covered in that ambit. Linked to this is the concept of visual management. In visual management, we understand what is the current level of the process, what is the problem in the process, and what steps need to be taken to correct it. So this is an overview of what we are going to explain you in the course called Industry Fit Engineers. Now, what are the benefits that you are going to get? We are going to provide you practical exposure to industry-wide problem solving. You must have understood from the past discussion that engineers with problem solving skills are of huge demand. And what we are trying to teach you here is what are all the practical methods that the industry takes to get into the problem solving mode. And if you understand this thing, you stand out from the crowd. Like if there are 100 people who go for an interview and the interviewer questions everyone, suppose you are the only one who knows few things better than them, your chances of getting employed is much higher than the remaining portion. If you are already employed and you get to understand more things and implement more things and achieve results, you can boost your salary potential as well as fast tracking your career life. Now, this particular course called Industry Fit Engineers is exclusively designed for mechanical engineers and fresh graduates. This course is designed by us in coordination with HRs, CEOs of top manufacturing companies. And there are only limited seats available, and we provide guaranteed benefits at a very affordable price. At the end of the training, the course, the structure of the training, I'll be explaining you in the next part. At the end of it, we provide an exam, an online exam, multiple choice question form of exam, in which your understanding levels would be proved here, and you would be given a certificate of participation. So, if you score above 90%, you will be deemed excellent. You score 80 to 90%, it will be very good. Less than 80% is good. Now, if you have made the efforts to come into this program and sit for so long, it means to say that you are really interested in fast tracking your career. So, when are we scheduling our course? This course is scheduled on 26th and 27th June 2021. That is the next Saturday and Sunday, and it will be done over a time period of 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 a.m. in the morning with some break in between. So we start morning 9:30 and end at 12:30 in the afternoon on both Saturday as well as Sunday. Now, we are not calling this as the price, but as investment. Why? Because you are investing on yourself to grow big. You are investing on yourself to grow better. We had set a price of 999 rupees initially, and now considering the pandemic situation and the need for students to upskill themselves, we have come out at 499 rupees for this particular course. So, what are all the benefits that you are going to get by enrolling into this course? You can register for our course and get lifetime access to interact with industry experts for industry related clarifications and recommendations. You will be having free access to Lean On Us monthly newsletters to get the insights on latest trends and what is happening in the industry. You will be having free access to industrial case studies. Now, where will this be beneficial for you, or how will this be beneficial for you? You get into a job or you get into some problem, and then you want a solution to come out of it. So we are here to help you. We are always there to help you. We have a huge gathered experience based out of our working across industry verticals. As I already told you, we have worked with about 21 different industry verticals, right from electrical panel manufacturing to electronics, chemical, food processing, and a host of many other industries. So we have a sufficient number of resources, sufficient number of implementation models to take you out of any problem. So, guys, my sincere request to you, make the best use of this opportunity and get into this course. So the payment details is also sent to you in the WhatsApp group, and it's also shown here. So you can always pay online or use the QR code system. So the last date for payment is 23rd June 2021. So now for the participants who couldn't attend the previous session, we restrict ourselves only to 100 participants to ensure that the quality of presentation and the quality of understanding of the students is good. Last time, many of you couldn't attend this because you were left out as we restricted the batch size to 100. So I request all of you to make the payment and attend this session. The seat reservation is on the first come, first serve basis. We provide other training services, and this is more focused towards the industry where we are into the concept, where we deliver trainings and implement projects on lean manufacturing and Six Sigma. So in Six Sigma, we provide certification on Lean Six Sigma Yellow Belt, Green Belt, and Black Belt. Lean Six Sigma Black Belt is purely for working professionals where they take up projects whose minimum savings is worth at least 10 lakh rupees. Then the other kind of trainings that we give, 5S, 7QC tools, FMEA, time and motion study, process capability analysis, standardized work, visual management, Kaizen, TPM and OE, and MSc. So this is the holistic list of trainings that we provide. So as I already told, our motto is to make industries better. So one aspect of bettering the industry is through providing quality engineers. So as a commitment or as a service towards the society, we have taken up this challenge of creating engineers with good skill sets and directly put them into the industrial domain.